making Forrest Gump, was there a point when you were making that movie, Gary, where you realized the effect it would have and you realized what you guys were actually creating?
When we were making it?
Yeah, because Tom Hanks is so big. He had just won an Academy Award for Philadelphia. And
you know, I mean, his trajectory was changing a little bit because for a very long time he was kind of associated with nothing but comedy. Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of comedies.
The Money Pit, Bachelor Party, all those.
Yeah, Bosom Buddies, all
Absolutely.
that stuff. And then A League of Their Own, you know, he's so good in that.
Yeah, he's great in it. He's the best in that.
He's so great in that movie. And things started to turn, I think, a little bit for him. Things started opening up. And then Forrest Gump, you know, he did Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and
that was
very
kind of
good in that. And then Forrest Gump came along. And while we were making it, I don't think we did know.
Oh, wow.
You know, what it was going to be like. Mm-hmm. Because the nature of the way the story is, you have a bunch of separate storylines.
Right.
Like
going
you
to
have
war.
Sally Field's story, right? Yeah. And then Robin Wright's storyline. Then you have Lieutenant Dan's storyline, Bubba's storyline. And, you know, if you think about it, you know, I did a little bit with Bubba, but mostly my stuff was with Tom, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
So all that stuff that between Michael T. Williamson, who played Bubba, and Tom Hanks, they were doing kind of on their own, and I didn't know what they were doing. I didn't see it. Same thing with Robin Wright. I was only in one little moment with Robin, and the rest of the time she's working with Tom and doing. So I didn't know what she was shooting. Same thing with Sally. Didn't know what she was shooting. So I remember so it was hard to predict, like, well, this is going to be great, mm-hmm. and, you know, because I didn't really know what everybody was doing.
Yeah.
Until we all sat down and they didn't know what we were doing, you know.
Yeah.
Until we all sat down together and watched the movie for the first time, and I remember the lights came up, and we were in this little screening room at Paramount. It was just some of the key cast members, producers, a few people from the studio.
Robert Zemeckis.
Bob, of course, yeah, the director, and the lights came up, and I remember sitting there and people standing up and turning around, and we were all looking at each other like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. What have we just done?
This is really good.
Right. So, Gary, from Forrest Gump, you segue directly to Apollo 13 in 1995. That must have been pretty special.
Well, I had a good time with Tom on Forrest Gump. And I think he put in a good word with the director, Ron. Mm-hmm. But I went and auditioned for Apollo 13. In fact, I found out about it. I got the script. I read it. I thought, what a perfect story for true story for a movie. It was very, very well written. And I said, well, what am I auditioning for? And Ron Howard told my agent, just tell Gary to come in and pick any one of the astronauts except for the one Tom's going to do. Mm-hmm. And so I actually read them all, and I picked Ken Mattingly, who doesn't get to go in the spaceship, you know. Because I just thought that storyline of him, you know, being one of the guys who's gonna, you know, really drive the mission and then getting pulled off the mission, which is what happens to him. They think might have been exposed to the measles, and they don't want to send him up to space. So they say, we're gonna replace you. They pull him off. But then later when everything happens and things go wrong, they need him to come back and help to get the guys home. And I thought that was a great story, you know. You kind of fall from grace, and then you're redeemed. And he becomes a big part of getting them back. So I love playing T.K. Mattingly, and auditioned for the part. Glad I got it. And it was a couple of movies in a row with Tom Hanks. So that was really, really fun.